BetOnline.com. Charlie, how you doing tonight?
Great, guys. Thanks for having me.
Oh, we really appreciate you joining us. Scott and I are both Auburn guys, but we need somebody to actually, bring us some intelligence about Alabama. So, the A-Day game this past weekend, clearly a lot of talent displayed on the field, and a lot of it of the freshman variety. But just give us your overall impressions of A-Day.
Yeah, I think the early enrollees really stood out. I think this year more so than other years had some intrigue in that department because there were so many already on campus. Alabama had 16 of its signees on campus already and participating in spring practice, and a lot of them have been making some noise. A lot of people want to point at Tuatanga, but Najee Harris, the running back, Jerry Jeudy, the wide receiver, who was the MVP of the game, Dylan Moses, linebacker that was a long-time LSU commit, but flipped there toward the end of his recruitment. All those five-star guys really lived up to that five-star billing and showed out in their first outing in Bryant-Denny Stadium. I think outside of the young guys, obviously you have to look at the passing game and how Tagovailoa and Jalen Hurts were able to get out, and then both have improved as a passer, and especially Jalen. I think that's one of the storylines that everybody wanted to see going into the spring, and he seems to be making a lot of progress. And just now I'm leaving Mobile. Nick Saban spoke at a fundraiser event that he goes to every year, and he said there's no quarterback competition. I don't think a lot of us thought that would. I think there'd be some intrigue there, but he's basically said that this is Jalen's job, and they're going to develop the guys as backups.
You talk about that. Both guys throw for over 300 yards in that game Saturday, but clearly, and it's Jalen Hurts' job. Do you think that this competition can only help him from a Tagovailoa because pushing him from behind like that? Everybody worries about it being a problem, and you can say it's not a problem until the first time that Hurts might throw 2 interceptions in a game, and then everybody's clamoring, "Hey, why don't you put in the backup?"
I think it'll help Jalen. Before he was just a young guy in the room, having to go out there and press and be a little different than the guys that had been in the quarterback room for a while. And he's just kind of a different dude. I don't want to say he doesn't have any personality, but he just doesn't show any emotions out there on the field. And I think having a guy, knowing that a talented guy gunning for his position, I think will only make him better. You can tell that he's developed as a passer. I'm not saying talking about being on campus and impressing early as a freshman has done that, but he stepped up his game. He's showing a little bit more presence in the pocket. He still kind of struggles to get to that second read before taking the ball and running, but he's making those strides. And I think having a guy like that pushing him that could potentially start forward a program anywhere else that he went to is only going to help him.
Well, Charlie, obviously with Jalen Hurts or even if it is Tua, whoever the quarterback, I think that the talent at the skill position areas, especially at the wide receiver position, will be something that will aid in the success of that. Since Saban's been there, I think this could be one of the more talented receiving corps he's had in a while. So can you talk a little bit about how that could play into the success of whoever the starting quarterback is and the offensive game plan in general?
Yeah, I completely agree, and that's really saying something considering last year you had a guy like Ardarius Stewart who was, in my opinion, Jalen's favorite target, and O.J. Howard. Both of those guys are moving on, and this receiving group and group of tight ends is supposedly better. That's really strange to hear, but I think that's exactly the case. You have Robert Foster, who was the guy in 2015 was supposed to have a big year but went down with a shoulder injury and then just never really put things together last year. Had a disappointing year in 2016. Calvin Ridley's obviously back and will be a junior, having another year at the program. And then Jeudy, who mentioned him, another 5-star kid out of Florida, showed that he looks nothing like a freshman. He celebrated his 18th birthday yesterday, so he's 17 whenever he was making all those plays in Bryant-Denny. And there's some younger guys, T.J. Simmons. Cam Sims is entering his senior year, but he's kind of been a reserve most of the time. There's a lot of bodies. I think Alabama could have a very deep receiving class, or a group of receivers this year. And it's not even including the 2 guys that they signed, along with Jeudy and Terrell Shavers and Henry Ruggs and Devontae Smith. They haven't even gotten on campus yet, so you still have 2 more coming in to add to that fold that's already impressive as it is.
Well, a lot of questions probably answered in these 3 weeks worth of practice. What about some ongoing position battles that are going to continue on in the fall?
To me, I think it starts with the secondary. I mean, anytime that you're having a spring scrimmage and a team is practicing against itself, if one does extremely well, that means the other side obviously did do so high. And in Saturday's case, that was the secondary. One spot that's been a big question mark this spring is the left cornerback position, left taken by Marlon Humphrey, who could be a first-round draft pick on Thursday. They kind of tinkered with the fact, the idea of Mika Fitzpatrick slipping in there back at corner instead of playing safety. But after a few practices, they decided to move Trayvon Diggs to that spot, to Mika back to safety, kind of be the leader of the secondary, which he's really good at doing. And he's for Diggs, if that's going to be the route they go, if that's going to be his spot on the field, he's going to have to improve and continue to develop as a corner in the summer. He gave up a lot of big plays in the 8A game, and they weren't intricate routes by any combination or any source of imagination. They weren't sluggos or wheels. They were straight co-routes, and the receivers were just getting by him in coverage. And I think that's really where it starts for me as a corner. Does he stay there? Did they move Minka there? Did they move some of the younger guys there? And then the right side of the offensive line, obviously, is a position I think is still for grabs. We've seen several guys there this spring, and that was kind of the case last year with some positions opening up at several spots at center, at left guard, and vice versa. And what we saw Alabama in the spring with was completely different than what we saw them open fall camp in. And I think that's kind of ongoing there. I think that, to me, is the two spots, is corner and the right side of the offensive line being right guard and right tackle.
Well, Nick Saban at the end of spring says that Alabama was adequate. Not elite, but just adequate. Do you think that's coach speak, or is he just sending a message?
He's sending the message. I think, I was one of the media captains in the game, and I was in the locker room afterwards, and that's the exact same thing he said to the players, but with a little bit more gusto behind his voice. He echoed his comments during his press conference, but I think he's letting them know that they still have a ways to go. I mean, obviously everybody that watched the 8A game saw that Alabama has an immense amount of talent. It continues to dominate his recruiting efforts, being in five-star guys, and they're continuing to contribute once they get on campus. But they're going to have to get those young guys as well as the guys that are returning to all buy in and to continue to improve. You watch the game, and at the end of it, Jalen has about a minute, 9 seconds left to drive the ball down the field to score against the first team defense. It's kind of the same situation we saw in Tampa with Deshaun Watson and Clemson did, and I think that's something that they're trying to get away from and improve, and that's where it starts really. And I don't know if a lot of people would agree with him that they're necessarily adequate and not elite, but that's his message to his team, and that's what they're sticking with right now.
How do you get to be the media captain for 8A?
They pick 4 of them each year, and I was one, and a couple other guys. I think they pick some guys from Rivals, AL.com, SEC Country, and then me, obviously, with 24/7 Sports. And it's kind of a cool little perk. You get to go behind the scenes and get to the locker room on the sideline and get a different perspective than being up in the press box.
Well, Alabama opens with Florida State in probably one of the more anticipated games this upcoming season. Way too early look at that game, but what's your early thoughts about Alabama facing maybe a 1 versus 2 matchup to start the season?
Yeah, I mean, just me in general, I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, that's a game that I think a lot of people are going to be talking about relatively soon with all the spring practices winding down and the draft coming up this weekend. We'll be talking about that game for several months, and with it being in the new Falcon Stadium and everything, I think there's going to be a lot of intrigue around it. But just from a matchup standpoint, Florida State has DeAndre Francois coming back at quarterback. Derwin James is going to be healthy at safety. They're going to have a lot of playmakers on both sides of the ball, and it's just going to be intriguing. There's going to be a lot of talent on both sides, a lot of 5-star talent. I know they're having to replace Dalvin Cook at running back, but they bring in Cam Akers, who was a long-time Alabama commit at running back, and he really showed out in the spring game. So it's going to be a test early for Alabama's defense, which I think is something that they're going to want to going to place a major emphasis on this summer, just with the way that last season ended and what happened in the spring game. And it's going to be no easy test coming out the gates, and it's one I think a lot of people are going to be looking forward to.
Well, Charlie, we really appreciate you joining us. Charlie Potter from BamaOnline.com, 24/7 Sports. You be careful on the way home, okay?
I will, guys. Thanks.
Thanks so
Charlie.
much. That was Charlie Potter. We appreciate him educating us a little bit on Alabama and everything going on.
We made it sound like we knew a little bit about the tie.
Oh, well, I can fake it. Up against another break, but don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more right after this.